to that baseline of chaos that we used to. Did you face that? And if so, how did you get through that?
Mm-hmm. This is something that is such an interesting thing to observe because we all want to be better. We all know the things we need to do to improve. And the comfort zone can feel so comfortable. And our brain can convince us that it's the safest, rightest, that's not even a word, smartest, best thing for us to do. And I have 100% been there. And sometimes it is, we might need a little bit more time in that comfort zone. You might not feel fully safe to take this risk because taking risk takes a lot of courage, coming back to our conversation of courage. Risk also takes feeling supported, like taking a calculated risk versus just ripping the Band-Aid off and leaping. Certain things can be done earlier in our lives, teens, 20s, mid-20s, taking that Band-Aid off and just leaping, quitting the job without the safety net, leaving the relationship without a plan in place. There's a time and place where that feels much more possible. As you get older, there's more on the table. There's more risk. There's more you have to consider. There's mortgages, there's payments, there's all of this. So sometimes the reason the comfort zone continues to feel so comfortable is because we didn't create the bridge to the risk. We didn't create the bridge forward. So what I love to do with my clients and with myself is if I feel something feels impossible, it is what is the plan? What are the inflection points at which I can actually take this risk? How much savings do I need to have set aside so that I can do 3 to 4 months of the side hustle, freelance, or whatever business I'm building and take that leap and leave the job? What is my transition plan to exit this relationship safely and comfortably for me? Are our finances intertwined? Is this something that I need to decouple emotionally slowly over time? But when we feel like it has to be all or nothing, all in a moment, there's moments where that's true. The quantum leaps people take, the big changes in life, the making the decision. But what we often forget is before that huge shift in life, there likely was a transition. There likely was a series of happenings that enabled them to finally feel ready to do the thing. I know this to be true in my life. It can feel like it's only a moment, like you asked me earlier around boundaries with family, with being in a new identity, but it was practicing over and over again, smaller conversations, stronger lines in the sand, then the big conversation where I can distinctly remember it, and then the continuation of that change. So I think sometimes when it feels like we just keep bouncing back to this comfort zone, we actually discredit how far we pushed ourselves out of the comfort zone before we bounced back and how much has changed, how much wider that comfort zone has possibly become, how much shift we are actually in the process of creating. And this actually builds that self-efficacy that I talked about earlier, that belief that we can do the hard thing. Because if we stop discrediting the efforts we're making, it helps us understand that we're making effort and that change is happening and that actually change is inevitable because humans are here to grow. And so for me, moving through this is to keep persisting, continue moving forward, continue showing that grit, and then having fun with the risk. Because at the end of the day, on the other side of these big decisions and changes is more freedom, more joy, more abundance, more power. When this negative energy we're trying to move away from, which is often the case when we want to move out of our comfort zone, when that dissipates, like we talked about earlier, there's so much more space for possibility. So let's inject the fun in these risks again, the courage, the pride of the courage, the saying and remembering you're awesome. These are things that we need to bring back into the equation, and it doesn't need to be so Puritan and negative and hard and difficult every step of the way. Changing yourself and taking these risks can be fun. And I'm saying this because I also need to remember this.